Well, hello and welcome to another video, and it's nice to be back on the rivers. I had one short evening session in the week. Where are we? We're sort of end of June, and this is my second session. I've come down just for a few hours during the sort of mid-morning to early afternoon. And I've had a barbel, much to my surprise. I don't catch many during the daytime on the Thames. But what a great way to start the season off. A nice 7-pounder, 7 pound 4 ounces. Like I say, I just don't get many barbel from the Thames during the day. I do put some hours in, but they all seem to come dawn, dusk, or more likely, much later in the evening. So very, very pleased. Really pleased. So this is the terminal tackle that I'm using. For those of you that care about brands, I'm using a Gardner lead clip kit, and this is a smaller lead clip than you'd normally use with the carp rigs. It's sort of a mini lead clip system that they have. Guru also do a nice mini lead clip too, but this is the Gardner one that I'm using, and as a result it uses a smaller quick change swivel than normal as well. And I'm using, for this swim that I'm fishing, I'm using a 2.5 ounce lead, which is plenty to hold bottom. And I tend to favour leads like this, which have got a hole in the middle. So the old Corda gripper leads used to be good. For some reason they've changed them so they don't have the hole anymore. But I like these holes. This is a Guru one, as you can see. I like these holes because I can push paste in there. And I like to have some paste on my leads because I just think it adds more scent into the water just above my hook bait. The main line I'm using is actually 15-pound line. You know, people might think that's a bit of overkill, but if I hook a big barbel, I want to make sure I land it. And quite often I'm fishing in swims that have snags, and I've lost plenty of fish because I haven't used tough enough gear. So I've learned from my mistakes, and I use a strong line. I mean, most of the time I'm fishing at night time, so the strong line, the thickness of the line and the visibility of the line doesn't really matter so much. But what I tend to do is, because I'm using thick line, I like to make sure it's really well pinned down so it's out of the way, so the fish don't really see it, even though it's strong and would be visible if it was up in the water. So I'm using a flying back lead. This is a Gardner one. Tusker do exactly the same style, flying back leads. And there's a 4mm bead and a float stop there. And what I do is I'll push that float stop up the main line, probably a metre and a half away from the lead clip. And that gives me a very large area of pinned down line between the flying back lead and the lead clip. And actually I should say that one of the big advantages of using a shorter hook link like I am, I mean traditionally barbel rigs tend to involve quite long hook lengths, but because I'm using a flying back lead and I'm pinning my hook link down, I can get away with using a much shorter hook link. Normally you want to use a long link, either because you're fishing very fast water, and if you're tying PVA bags to your leads, you want to make sure that the bait, when it comes out of the PVA bag, ends up near your hook bait. And if you're fishing in fast flowing water, that could be, you know, a metre away from the lead by the time those pellets kind of settle, and so you want them to be near your hook bait. But the other thing that is of concern when you're barbel fishing is where the line comes off the lead and then lifts to the rod tip. Barbel obviously don't want to be bumping into the line as it comes from the lead vertically through the water column and up to the rod tip. So there's a big advantage in using a long hook link, because then the lead is further away from your hook, so you have less issues of barbel being spooked by a line coming off the lead and up out of the water. But because I'm using a short hook link and a flying back lead to pin everything down, I don't have that problem, so I can get away with a much shorter hook link. Really helps a lot with the bolt rig effect and setting that hook more efficiently, because there's a lot less movement that the fish has once it's picked up the bait before everything tightens up. Right, well, I'm doing something a little bit different this session. I've scalded some pellets, so I've got a mixture of 4 and 6mm pellets, some sticky bait, ellipse pellets, and some 10mm halibut pellets, and I've put some in a bucket, mixed them all up, and covered them in boiling water, and just left them. And they've soaked up the liquid, and it's softened them up nicely. And now I can, as you can see, very easily great balls that I can easily ball in to my swim, and also it's sort of malleable enough for me to mould around a lead or to push into a feeder. So I'm getting pestered by a combination of crayfish, what I suspect is small chub, and also bats flying into the line. So I've lowered my rods a little bit further down to try to help with the bat problem, and I'm covering my boilies in paste just to buy myself a bit more time with the crayfish, getting to the boilies and pulling them off the hair. And I'm also hoping that the fact that those boilies are now wrapped in paste and probably more like, I don't know, 22, 24mm baits now, that might put off some of the smaller chub as well. So hopefully, if I'm going to get a bite, it's going to be from something worth landing. It's not the barbel that I'm really after, but I tend to fish with a sort of hair that isn't too long. I know a lot of people who are barbel fishing like to use long hairs to avoid the chub, but actually I quite like catching chub, and when they're 5.5 pounds, I'm very happy to have them. So let's put it back and get that barbel rod back out. Well, we've got another barbel. There you go. Nice barbel. Very lean, empty. Second fish of the season, and it's only the third time I've been down here to this stretch. But anyway, I want to get this back quickly because it needs to recuperate really. Put up quite a fight, so let's get it straight back. But happy days, eh? Lovely. I'm down on a small pond in Surrey doing a spot of crucian fishing using a combination of the method feeder and the pellet cone. Well, there we go, lovely 2 pound 9 ounce crucian, PB. Not done a lot of crucian fishing, so this is a bloody good start to it if you ask me. That was on a single plastic caster in the margins. Happy days. Getting pestered by these little blighters. Well, I've got another crucian. Been fighting my way through the tench. I've had I don't know, 6 or 7 tench now, all sort of similar size, sort of 2 to 3.5 pound. So another 2 pound crucian, eh? Getting the hang of this. I have to say the tench are a bit of a pain. It's worth it when you get these cracking, buttery coloured, proper old school crucians like this. Awesome fish. This one was caught on corn on the method feeder at range. So that's one from the margin and one from the long rod as well. Brilliant. Let's put it back anyway. Well, just had a fun scrap with a 4.5 pound tench. It's the best tench of the day. But again, nuisance species when I'm after the crucians. But it's on the float in the margins, so it's quite a good scrap on the light tackle. But let's put it back anyway. At least he's keeping me busy. They've got third one of the day. Not quite as big as the other two. Won't make £2 that one, but it's still a pretty little fish. Probably about £1.5 pounds, something like that. So it's coming to the end of the day now. I've got about, I don't know, 40 minutes to go, and you can see I've caught the sun a bit. It's been pretty bright and sunny for most of the day, but the cloud cover has come in now, and yeah, like I say, we've got just a little bit more time. Hopefully we'll get one more, but sort of ready to go home. Very happy. I don't do a lot of crucian fishing, and it's been nice to come down here and have a few crucian and catch a few tench on light tackle as well. That's a bit spicy, a bit hairy, but good fun. And I'll certainly come back down here again and give the crucians a go again, because they're pretty charming, enigmatic fish actually. And I'd like to see if I can up the PB a little bit. I've popped down to the little pond again to give the crucians a go. After work, I've just got a few hours, and I've just had my first fish of the day. It's a lovely, lovely crucian. £2 10 ounces. Look at that lovely, lovely fish. Lovely golden, buttery coloured crucian. These ponds down here are lovely. There's not many places you can get a fish like that. Happy days. Another pretty little crucian, just scraping £2, short and fat. That's on the method feeder. Really loving these little fish though, they're great. Well, literally next cast within 5 minutes. Another low two. Same method feeder and pellet bait. Anyway, let's put it back. Yay, tench. Wow, it's been a while coming. I've had some finicky bites and I've bumped a couple of fish, but I finally got one on the bank. It's not a monster at all. It's £5 two. And as you can see, it's a bit empty in the belly. That was on a prawn. It's the first time I've used prawns on this venue, so it's nice to have a fish on a different bait. But let's get this back anyway and see if we can get another one. This was as a result of casting to a showing fish actually on the far bank, so nowhere near my baited spot at all. So it goes to show that sometimes you just got to react. When you see something, go for it. But anyway, let's put this little tinker back. Well, it's been a long time coming, but I've got a second tench of the session. Again, it was on the prawn, which, like I said, is not a bait that I've used on here before, but it seems to be the only bait that I can get bites on at the moment. £4.11. Pretty fish though, good nick. The other one was a bit bashed and bruised, but this one's in lovely condition. Again, a bit of an empty belly, but they do put up a good fight in this pond. I think it's because there's just not a lot of space. But anyway, let's put it back. Excellent though. Well, back at the car park, there's a heavy rain coming, so a few of us have packed up and run to the cars so as not to get too wet. But what a tough day on the little pond. Normally fish is a bit better than that. I think there's only 3 tench caught, a couple of carp. I lost a couple of tench as well. But yeah, tough fishing. Don't know why. Don't know whether it's been fished heavily over the last few days, as they sometimes rent it out for matches, and I suppose that could have had an impact. But honestly, it's probably just something to do with the weather. It's been so warm and muggy. It's probably put them off feeding, to be honest. But had a couple, and I think it's probably onto the rivers now for me.